Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of With All Due Respect. We are your hosts. I'm Ryan Shead. That's Marcus Flowers. Brother, how are you doing?
Hey man, if I were any better, I'd have to have a piss test, but I digress. Yeah, not a bad day.
I wasn't ready for that.
I know.
I was not ready.
Started off right?
Yeah, man. That's a better joke than the one I had. Okay. But we've got a great show planned for you. I'm not going to, start with any fluff. Let's get right into it. We started this show when you called me. It was all about us bringing up the Democratic Party and the future, and not just the future, but also the people we need right now in this moment. And I know through our conversations, we feel like the person we're bringing on is one of those people. So it's our honor and privilege to bring on.
Excitement, by the way. That's why I'm so excited today, because we've got a great guest in my opinion. So
yes, and thank you. Marcus is the one that got him here. I look forward to hearing the story about how, because you actually haven't told me the story about how you all actually connected. So I look forward to hearing that part. But for those of you who don't know, there is a special election coming up in Georgia, and the date, and we're going to repeat this date a couple of times, but it's February 16th is when early voting starts. So if you are in Georgia in District 14, make sure that you vote. And make sure that you educate yourself on who is in this race. I think there's like 15, 17, Republicans on the other side. So they're all vying for it because it's a red district. We already know that. But the person that they're going up against, I think that they've got a fight coming that they're not necessarily ready for. So with that said, Shawn Harris is coming onto the show. Thank you, sir, for joining us. It's an honor. Seriously, you've actually followed me online for years. So it's actually a privilege to get to meet you.
Well, hey guys, I'm just excited to be on your show. This is a great opportunity to see you again, Marcus. I know we're going to talk about how you and I met, but I just want to say before we even get started, thank you, and thank you again, Ryan. Keep doing all the great work. And when my team told me I was going to be on this show today, I was like, oh man, this is big time.
You're big time. And for those of you who don't know, Shawn is a retired Army Brigadier General who served this nation for 40 years. Shawn, is that correct?
40 years.
He's also a former Marine, if you can believe it, or not a former Marine. Once a Marine,
always Marine.
Always.
There you go.
He's also a Marine, but Shawn is so a special person who, I've been inspired by, after meeting him and getting to know him. I think we met in 2022.
Yeah.
Right after the election. For those of you who don't know, Georgia 14 is the district that I ran in against Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene has now vacated that seat. Mm-hmm. And we've got, in my opinion, an awesome candidate here. And I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about himself. Shawn, if you can just, tell our audience, because we have a national audience, people from all over the country, that have followed me and my race against Marjorie Taylor Greene, hoping that they'll follow you as well.
Yeah.
Talk about why you decided to jump in this race, but tell us first a little bit about yourself and why you decided to get into this race.
I will. And this is just awesome. I was blessed to do, like you said, Marcus, I did 40 years in the military. Started off enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, so I'm proud to say that I went to Parris Island, stood on those little yellow footprints, and proved myself. And then after 4 years, got out, went to Tuskegee University through a ROTC to help me pay for school. And then after finishing up ROTC and finishing up college, I became a second lieutenant, went back to Fort Benning, Georgia, and then went through all the different processes, went from second lieutenant to first lieutenant and captain and on and on and on. But what the significant piece of my career was that it's not about me and the leadership positions that I had the opportunity to serve in. It was about all the people that I had an opportunity to serve with. And And yes, I did command at all the different levels. Yes, I went into a place called Afghanistan and led a team there in 2007, 2008. Yes, I actually led a team into Liberia, Africa, during the Ebola time. And yes, I actually was the chief of staff over in Kosovo. And yes, I was a senior defense official in a place called Israel for my last assignment. But all of those things are in the past. The cool thing is that I got a chance to get out. I chose to come back to my home state of the great state of Georgia. I chose to live here in Northwest Georgia, not knowing that I had bought a house and a ranch in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. And yes, I did say that. I didn't realize
it's like buying a Tesla before we knew who Elon was.
So that's a mistake. No, I love the fact that I live up here in Northwest Georgia. But the reality was I saw you, Marcus, while I was still on active duty in Israel when you ran against Marjorie. And then when I got home, had the farm, I realized that you were also from this exact area where I live. And I called some people that I knew because you know how we are in the military. We can get a phone number.
We can get a hold of people. That's just what we do.
And some kind of way, an old retired general got in touch with you, and you and I, we had a great conversation. And from there, I'll let you tell the story. But what I just want to tell the people is that I'm honored to be able to serve the country for all those years. And I'm looking forward to serving the American people and the people here in Northwest Georgia for many more years in Washington, D.C. as the congressman. And I'm going to be somebody that's going to fight for everybody here in the district, not just mega. And also, I'm going to make sure I'm fighting just for everyday people, because that's what we have here in Northwest Georgia. They work hard every day, and they deserve somebody that's going to look out for them. So with Marcus, I'll let you tell the story how you and I met.
I mean, like Shawn said, I get a call, a text message, I believe.
Yeah.
Hey, retired Brigadier Shawn Harris. I'm just moving back from let's meet up. I'm like, okay, you're from Cedartown? That's an area I kind of grew up. I split my time back and forth between Georgia and Alabama. As a kid, Daddy lived here. Mama lived in Alabama. I grew up in Alabama and spent my childhood back and forth between the two places. Mm-hmm. And, Polk County, I find out Shawn's from there. So I said, well, let's meet up. Let's have some coffee. So we sit down, the coffee house that we were going to sit at. I think there was something going on there, but we decided to go to McDonald's and have some of their coffee, if you will.
It didn't taste too good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not what I'm used to. I'm more of a Dunkin' kind of guy, but it wasn't about the coffee. It was about the conversation.
Yeah.
We sat and talked to each other about, our careers, the things that we did. And, Shawn was like, you ran a hell of a race. I was like, thank you. And then he asked me if I was planning on running again. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, I'm going to take a break and do something else. It's always about service. Mm-hmm. And this, what I'm doing right now, helping Democrats get elected across the country, is just another form of service to me. And he asked me what I thought about him running. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, why do you want to run? I wanted to make sure he understood what he was getting into, and make sure that the reasoning behind it was right. And, again, what I saw after asking those questions, and I think we sat down for about 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, we did.
We both said we got an hour, but we ended up sitting there 2 or 3 hours just talking because we got on so well. But what I saw was a man with a servant's heart. That's what I saw.
Can't do 40 years without it.
Well, let me just add to this conversation, because there's always 3 sides to a story. Okay? Marcus' side, my side, and somewhere in there lies the truth. That day when I went and met Marcus in Cedartown, Georgia, and yes, we was going to meet at some other coffee shop, but something was going on, so we ended up at the McDonald's. But I think people should know that I had never met Marcus in my entire life. The only thing I knew about Marcus was a guy that I saw on CNN that was running against Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he was a black guy, and he wore a cowboy hat. That was it. So
that's all you needed.
In my truck in Cedartown, Georgia, and I'm waiting at the coffee shop, but it wasn't open. And I see this black guy coming down the sidewalk, And sure enough, he had on his cowboy hat. And I said, damn, that's Marcus right there. So this guy is 100% real. He's 100% who you see every day. That's Marcus. The spinoff of it, when I went and had coffee with Marcus, my intent was to go to Marcus and say, hey, if you're running again, I'm going to put all of my support behind you as a general and help you.
That's funny.
That was the conversation.
He did say
in some kind of way, I walked out of McDonald's saying, well, hell, I think I might be running for Congress. So
did I just get bamboozled here? Like, what just happened?
He did say that. And I was like, look, I'm not doing it again right now. I'm doing something else. Go for it.
But this is, you know, again, just circling back to the intent of our show. You know, this is part of it, is reorganizing, and, you know, as we organize in a way that's going to benefit everybody and keep everybody involved. Like, you know, that was the one thing I said to you, you know, when we talked privately, Marcus, was as long as you're not stepping away, like, you know, it's cool if you don't want to run. I get it. You know, that was a hell of a campaign, but we still needed you in this fight. So, you know, that was the conversation you and I kind of had. And I agree with Shawn, by the way. If you all are wondering if this dude is the same behind closed doors, I promise you he is. like he is this dude. So, but that's, again, what we need. We don't need more politicians that are going to play the game, do the dance, you know, and just tell you what you want to hear to try to get your vote. That's easy. Anybody can do that. What's hard is looking at a constituent and saying, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Here's what needs to happen and why. And I understand that it's going to affect you negatively here, but here are all the positives down the line. That's what we need. And we also need to get back to Americans responding to that kind of information of going, okay, I see why I got to take a little bit of a lump here. It's for the greater good. Got it. But as long as we have a politician that's going to follow through once they explain that to you, that's what we need.
And that's one of the things I always say. Congress belongs to everybody.
So
every one of these races is important. To everybody in all 50 states. And when I talk about, again, I always come back to service and people with a servant's heart. And like you said, you know, giving up and not serving. I've served over 30 years, you know, in uniform. And
it's like you don't know any other way.
State. You know, I just couldn't see my life not serving this country in some capacity. And that's what I saw in Shawn wanting to serve. This is service. Getting out and running campaigns like this, it's service. Shawn, you agree?
Matter of fact, you know, that's why it's so important when I'm out talking, I talk about leadership matters. Because I'm a firm believer that we need to be going out and finding those people out there that have the talent and the desire and the ability to lead. When we say lead, like you said, this is not going to be easy. You're going to have to tell people the truth, and you're going to have to stand somewhere. You can't be out here running, saying you run for Congress, and you don't have a spine. I think we got too many people in Congress that are more celebrities than leaders. And that's on both sides of the house. And I believe that for us here in Northwest Georgia, we have already had a celebrity. Marjorie did a great job of being somebody that you see on Fox News every 5 seconds. She was an awesome celebrity. And now she's on The View or whatever else. They got that, but guess what? They did not get any bills or policies passed that will actually improve the lives of the people here in Northwest Georgia. One of the things I always talk about is, okay, Marjorie got her bill passed. It changed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. How did that actually help you buy some milk? How did that bring your insurance costs down? How did that help you buy a house? And how does that help you make sure you can afford and pay your gas bill, light bill? None of those things were addressed. So it's time to get away from celebrities and get real leaders in DC.
Damn, I love that.
That's been a problem for years now, where a lot of these members in Congress, I want to say on both sides, but it's really more predominantly on
Yeah,
right,
but I mean, we can't
like
point our finger at
WWE,
them and not.
they'll go and hit each other over the head with, you know, a folding chair, metaphorically. You know, the rhetoric.
Don't get us booted
off. Rhetoric that they use. That's what they treat it as, and then they'll go back and say, "Hey man, let's go have dinner," or, you know, let's talk.
Yeah, Marcus,
you don't negotiate with people that way.
Yeah, Marcus, when I say that on both sides, I look at it like this: the good Lord blessed me to get to Congress. One thing that I know we all know from being in the military is if one person on the team mess around and gets scared, that damn thing becomes contagious.
Yes, sir.
But if somebody shows courage when everything is actually going wrong,
it's even more
everybody else is going to step up to the next level. That's what I'm talking about. When I get to Congress, if somebody's spine is shaking and getting a little weak in their boots, they'll be able to look at me and say, you know what, that's Shawn Harris. That guy's holding the line. And because he's holding the line, I'm going to hold the line. And then we finally get some things done because we need leaders in D.C. And that's across the board. And I want to do my little part coming out of Northwest Georgia. And I think, and I know the people here in Northwest Georgia are hungry for somebody that's going to actually pay attention to them. And because the 17 individuals that I'm running against, check them out. Every last one of them, the first thing come out of their mouth is saying, I am a Trump Republican. When somebody tells you they're a Trump Republican, what they're actually saying is Trump is more important to them than the people that live here in Northwest Georgia.
Tell them again, sir.
So you need to, I don't want to tell you how to do your business, Northwest Georgia, but I think you need to listen to us, because if you listen to the person that's speaking, they will tell you exactly where you stand in their priorities. What I'm telling you is you are my number one priority. When I get to DC, I'm going to vote for what's best for Northwest Georgia, everybody in Northwest Georgia. My counterparts, what they're trying to do is get to be even more extreme than Marjorie Taylor Greene. If it's not true, check it out. You'll see for yourself. And that will not work for us here in small town America, Northwest Georgia.
And can I tell you,
he ain't lying, ladies and gentlemen.
He isn't.
Let me get this real quick. These guys on the Republican side, they're trying to out sycophant Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah,
she was truly a Trump sycophant.
which you think would be difficult,
you know, and that would be difficult. But that's their platform.
Yeah,
you know,
shocking
to show fealty to Trump. That's not addressing rural health care in these counties that Shawn and I live in.
Right.
That's not addressing the price of groceries. That's not addressing housing and affordability. It's not addressing any of those things. That's all they're trying to do. What you have right here in Shawn Harris, again, a servant leader who's been there, done that, taking care of soldiers, Marines, his entire career. That's all he knows how to do.
Yeah, Marcus,
take care of people.
I tell you, I don't talk too much about my military career because my mom always told me to be humble and respect others.
I can talk about
but I would tell you, I'm proud of the fact that the latter part of my career, as I got higher and higher up in the ranks, is that Marines, Air Force, Navy, Space Force, you name it, FBI, CIA, you name it. All of these people are on my team. I'm from what we call the Joint Force. That simply means I know how to work with people from other agencies. I know how to work with other countries' leaders. I know how to work with people that I don't even like. I don't have to like you to get to yes. Why do I say that? I want to take that skill set to Washington, D.C., because guess what? It is a lot of Republicans that represent small towns. And because they represent small town America, guess what? Shawn Harris, the Democrat, and the Republican will probably both agree that, wait a minute, our hospitals are about to close.
Yes, sir.
We don't have to have on the same T-shirt, but we do have the same issue. So we better get together and get a policy put up, because guess what? We're going to mess around and all of our people are going to be living in a healthcare desert. So those are the skill sets that I'm bringing to the table of simply saying, I don't have to be your best friend to get to yes. I need to make sure, or we need to make sure, that we sending somebody to Congress that's just not going to spend the entire day talking about what somebody else is not doing
and tweeting,
and tweeting versus, well, what are you actually doing? Because we have already had that 5 years of doing absolutely nothing. But the key thing about 5 years, she got a retirement check.
Yep.
That retirement check that she's receiving right now is higher than the average person in our district. And she only worked for 5 years and then made over 20-some million dollars. So
the word work is doing a little heavy lifting there,
right,
but yeah.
That's in the past, but I just need people to fully understand that you already had that.
Yeah.
Give a tested leader the opportunity to prove that he will work for you. And then guess what, Marcus? Guess what? If I don't produce, you know, just like I know, it's enough Republican votes to vote me right back out. So
in a heartbeat,
take a chance. Let's do it.
Let's try something different.
What's
working? What this ain't working.
Us military guys aren't afraid to be called to the carpet, which is what when you have to stand and be accountable for something. If you feel like you did the right thing, you don't care about being called to the carpet. So Shawn
I said
in front of his constituents and answer the tough questions. Marjorie Taylor Greene did not do that. I got kicked out of a couple of her town halls, but hey,
I would tell you, I said just the other day something I was talking about Marjorie while she was still in the race, and I believe this point blank. I was taught in leadership, but I know you were taught the same way. When you point the finger at somebody else, you see that little finger right there? You need to realize that it's 3 more fingers pointing back at you. The question you need to be asking yourself, what did you do to fix the problem? We have spent 5 years of Marjorie Taylor Greene blaming somebody else, blaming somebody for healthcare, blaming somebody for this, and blaming somebody for that, but didn't do a damn thing.
I got to say 2 things. First off, when you start talking about the representatives with the crooked spine and having to be that support, you want to know what flashed in my mind when you said that? John McCain standing on the floor, giving the thumbs down when they were trying to take healthcare the last time.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we need right now. We need people, like you said, when you're in the military, one of the best things that one of my shop chiefs did, and I worked on aircraft, so we did sheet metal.
Yep.
I had a dude, we did not like each other. And anytime we worked together, we just butted heads. We were 20-year-old, dummies.
Right.
And my shop chief started putting us together every single day. And finally I went, why do you keep putting me with this dude? He's like, because you two are going to figure out how to work together, whether it kills you.
Yeah.
And as soon as I realized what it was about, I went, oh. Then we started trying. And I literally went back to him. I said, dude, they're not going to stop putting us together till we figure this out. And we did.
We did. I'm so glad you brought up John McCain, because I usually don't talk about this part of my life. But the night that John McCain, everybody saw him gave the thumbs down, everybody remembers that.
Yep.
You know what John McCain did 5 minutes before that? It's filmed, but it was mainly done behind closed doors. They did the vote on all the people that's going to be moving on from Colonel 06 to 1 star. Mm-hmm. John McCain voted for me to become a 1-star. And he walked out of that room that they voted for us. As that thing was going down, people were texting saying, Shawn, you made it, man. You made it. They just voted. And when I turned on the TV, I saw John McCain go out there and put the thumbs down. And I texted from friends and said, hey, guys, what do you mean I made it? I think he just voted. And he said, no. He voted yes.
he thought thumbs down was for him.
But he voted no on this other thing. So,
oh, wow.
So it's not until you said that statement that reminded me of John McCain, of you got to have courage. You got to be somebody that's going to do the right thing. And oh, by the way, your closest friends may not like you for it, but history will remember your name. And John McCain, as we remember the rest of history of this country.
Yep.
Thumbs down, and he stood up for all of us.
That's it.
Yes, sir. So I got a question for you guys.
Come on.
You said you met at a McDonald's. You guys ended up talking for 3 hours. So what were the main issues you talked about that day?
You know, I'll go first, Marcus.
Go ahead.
Like I said, when I went in there, I went in to support Marcus to run again. One, I thought he had did an awesome job. I thought he had did the work to move the district to the next level.
For sure.
And I was coming to basically join his team and say, okay, how can I help you
finish the fight,
veterans or whatever that thing was?
Yeah, that's not the way it went.
The other piece was because I was in the world of agriculture and that was my world that I grew up in. I was saying to him, I can help you also with the farmers. But it actually ended up going another different direction. But I think the cool thing about that conversation was it's two leaders that respected each other, two leaders that said, wait a minute, both individuals bring unique things to the table. Yes. We're not the same. However, we both bring unique things to the table, and we both care about Northwest Georgia. And because we both cared about Northwest Georgia, when Marcus is the one who said, Shawn, I think you should run, it at least came in my mind. Now, I got to tell the rest of the world, it's another part of that story. I did not walk out of McDonald's going to people saying I'm running for Congress. Okay, that did not happen.
He went saying Marcus Flowers is a con man, and I think I might be in trouble.
I talked to a couple more people.
Look, I ended up talking to one or two or more people, but guess who those people were? Because they came to my farm and they were helping me. It was Republicans who came to my farm that were veterans and said, hey, they didn't know I talked to Marcus. They said, hey, Shawn, you got the skill set, you got the energy, you understand
the resume
policy, you understand all these kind of things. I think you should run for Congress. And I ended up telling those guys, hey guys, I'm not sure I don't think you actually know who I am. And they said, what are you talking about? I said, it sounds like y'all guys are Republicans. And every last one of them said, hell yeah, we're Republicans. And I said, guys, I'm not a Republican. I had never said in my adult life, because in the military, we don't talk about that.
Nope.
I had never said in my adult life that I was a Democrat.
Especially
but when Democrat. I told them, I thought they would leave me alone. And guess what they said? Oh, okay.
And
we don't like Marjorie Taylor Greene. We want to support you.
Yep.
So it was two different sets of leaders in less than a 10-day period that said to me, please get in the arena.
That was your sign.
From that is when we actually launched the campaign. And that's why today we have support from Democrats, independents, and what I call common sense Republicans that have come across and standing behind us. But I just want to end it this way. It was Marcus who opened the door for me, because we have built our campaign based off the things that Marcus was already doing in the district.
And that's a perfect segue into what I wanted to talk about as far as on the ground in Georgia 14th. Let me give the audience a little bit of history. You know, when I ran, we were in the middle, right after a census. We were still having that fight about redistricting. They actually drew me out of the district, literally drew a circle around my house to get me out of the district, because we got people's attention.
How very Texas of them.
We got their attention. And, you know, we had that fight in and out of the courts and came back that drew me out of the district. One of the big things I wanted to do, and this is why I'm always talking about Democrats need to go back to a 50-state strategy. So one of the things I did was help build the infrastructure for the Democratic Party in Northwest Georgia. Long story short, you know, I talked with Democrats, independents, Republicans as well on the ground, knocking doors. I didn't care whose door it was.
Right.
I was going to talk to the people. We moved the district by 10 points.
Which is a huge swing.
10 points. They ended up drawing a few of those places out of the district after I won that many votes, because they were like, okay, this is a threat. They finished that redistricting fight. Remember, it went through the courts. You know, a judge said, yes, you got to draw 2 more majority minority districts. They ended up getting us 1 majority minority district, but it affected Georgia 14.
Right.
Didn't matter. We had done something there. Shawn in his race, after I'd moved the district 10 points, even with them drawing out some of the blue, moved it another 5 points to the left on top of that. Because Shawn, what he did was continue. Now, he ran in the last cycle. He continued building the infrastructure for the Democratic Party in that. That's why this is important. And I want you to talk a little bit about that, Shawn, how you continued doing the work that we started there and kept improving, and why that's important.
Yeah, you know, when you know, I think it's so important for people to understand that the district that you ran in and the district that I ran in, the only thing that it has in common, it was called CD 14.
That's it.
The reality of it is Gordon County, which is Calhoun, was taken from us, and I was given West Cobb. And when I say West Cobb, in my opinion, is a suburb of Atlanta. I mean, it's hundreds and thousands of people that live in Little West Cobb. Hence, West Cobb actually has more people than many of my counties up north. When we actually got West Cobb, we actually went. I went and knocked on doors and found out that many of the doors that we were knocking on were actually Republicans. And when I told those Republicans that I was running for Congress, building the infrastructure, running for Congress, and told them that Marjorie Taylor Greene had now became their congressman, they were like, oh no, this can't be. To make a long story short, some of those Republicans came out of their house, put their gym shoes on, and started walking down the street with me, knocking on their neighbor's house to say, hey,
wow,
Shawn has said, and he showed me on the phone what the state has said, that the houses on the left side of the road are all in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, which is now CD 14.
Wow.
And all the houses on the right side of the road is in our old district. We cannot let Marjorie Taylor Greene represent us. I say that to say now, I'm getting more votes across the board, building that infrastructure. Democrats, independents, and Republicans across the board in West Cobb than anywhere else because of the great work that Marcus started, the work that we continue to work on. I can't speak about other races anywhere else in America, but we don't hide it. We are trying to get votes and sure up votes from our brothers and sisters that are Democrats, strong Democrats, weak Democrats, whatever Democrat it is. But we don't hide it. We talk to independents and we also talk directly to Republicans. So when we out there knocking on doors, that's what makes us different. We will knock on a door that the computer system says, this is a leaning Republican.
Registered Democrat, yep.
Guess what the key word was? Leaning. Because if you can just tell them the Shawn Harris story. Shawn Harris served the country for 40 years. Shawn Harris was enlisted, then he became an officer, and then went on to be a general officer. Shawn Harris has served around the world. Last assignment was Israel.
You were enlisted first?
Yeah, I was enlisted.
I did not know that.
I made
it. And you made your brigadier general?
Not many people make it to brigadier,
dude.
Look,
sorry, y'all don't know. Y'all don't know that
private or private first class. That jump to brigadier general, it doesn't happen very often. So
sorry, man.
I tell people
that's pretty damn impressive.
I tell people all the time when it says leadership matters, you think about this from a soldier point of view. I have stood at the gate and asked myself, what the hell am I doing out here at the gate? Okay. And I've also been the guy who said, boys and girls, we're going to be standing at the gate.
We're standing at the gate.
Because of my experience of standing at the gate, I make sure that we take the extra little moment in the order to tell that person at the gate, This is why it's so important that you stand at the gate, because
Yep.
you're the one that's keeping the watch for us.
Yep. While we all do
Because
our jobs.
I'm proud to say that I stood at the gate as an enlisted guy. I'm proud to say that I served with some great Americans in the Marine Corps. I'm proud to say that I served with some great Americans in the Army. But I'm also proud to say that I'm now serving with outstanding veterans across the board, because it is veterans that are helping us across the board to get out, knock on doors, and making this process, this system that we have built. It only works by people coming out, joining the team, volunteering, knocking on doors, writing those postcards, making the phone calls, asking people to donate to our campaign. And we do all of those things. The last thing I'll say, and I'll be quiet, it was something I was taught way back in the United States Marine Corps. In the Marine Corps, we win the day, period. We're not talking about tomorrow. We're going to win it. I don't know if we can say bad words on the show, so I won't say bad words.
No, drop it.
We will kick your ass today, period. We're not going to talk about tomorrow. We're going to kick your ass today.
Yes, sir.
I take that and bring it to this campaign without saying the bad word. Win the day. Because if you win today, then when it gets to February 16th, you have mastered the art of winning the day. We know how to get the people out. We know how to get them to the polls. They know how to vote. They know everything they need to do. And then guess what? When it comes March 10th, who cares if it's cold? Who cares if it's raining? Who cares if we having an ice storm? We have mastered how to win the day, and we will win the day, because when we win the day, we win the election. That is some of the inside baseball that on no other podcast I would ever put out there. But because y'all two are my two military brothers, I know you understand when I say we not listen to no excuses.
No, sir.
Excuses are stepping stones to failure.
Yep.
So don't come here to this team telling me, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. Well, guess what? That's why we're in the leadership business, because it's supposed to be hard. So I'm
if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Let me just slide this in to everybody listening across the country right now. And I don't know why this race isn't a much bigger deal right now, but this is a real opportunity, especially leading into the midterms. We got a chance to put a Democrat in to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. Wouldn't that be poetic justice?
And it's doable.
Poetic justice. And it's doable because right now Shawn is up against 17 Republicans who are, and I'm going to play a little insider baseball. Sorry about that, Shawn. You know how I do. But they're going to split the vote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're going to split the Republican vote.
Yep.
And if he turns out 50, 60, 70% of the Democrats that I know he can, get some independents, get some Republicans, you're looking at the next congressman for Georgia's 14th congressional district.
Yeah.
So people out there, give Shawn all the help. And Shawn will give you some information on where you can send donations because he needs it. He's going to need to be up on TV and everything. He's going to need to be sending out mail. He's going to need to be getting canvassers out on doors. So if you can send $5, $10, $15, $20, $100, $1,000, whatever you can, send it to him.
And another reminder, too, that Shawn Harris, like pretty much every other Democrat out there, is using union print shops for his stuff. So
this shirt is made by the union.
There you go. So, gentlemen, this has been so much fun. I actually don't want it to end. So I really hope you'll come back, sir. Finding out that you are enlisted and then, oh, my God, dude, that makes you so much more qualified for this.
I know we got to go, but I used to love to talk to my young soldiers. You know, when you get so far up in rank, people kind of can't keep up.
They think they can't talk to you or can't access you
on the wall, but they don't really know the real person.
Yep.
When I used to come and talk to our young soldiers, I would let them know that, believe it or not, I was an E4. I was part of the E4 mafia.
The E4 mafia.
Right there. I was good at it. Good at it. And it was a sergeant major when I became an E5 who said, Shawn, I think you should become an officer. And to be honest with you,
You're better than this.
I kind of questioned it because I was like, well, you know, I kind of like this, but I'm so glad that I listened to him. But as we close, and I know we talking the election and all those kind of things, but it was leaders in the military, senior NCOs who taught me the right way to do the right thing.
Yes.
Just like those senior NCOs helped me in the military all the way through my career. It is senior NCOs that are veterans that are helping me with this campaign. And I will make sure that when we win this election, those senior NCOs and veterans will have a direct line to me because too many veterans in this district, 40,000 veterans in this district, we don't really have a real healthcare system. We don't really have a real VA in this system. We have a little clinic in Rome. They try their best, but they need some more doctors and nurses. You either go to Chattanooga, Tennessee, or you go to Atlanta. That is BS. So I want to make sure that our veterans know that nobody has to brief me up on what you're going through, because right before I got on y'all guys' show, you saw my phone go off. When the VA called, you better take that call.
You better get help.
You may not get your appointment for another 8 months. So
that's no joke.
I'm living it just like the other veterans in the district. And I want to make sure that we get better health care for them. I want to make sure that they get the benefits that they have already earned. And I want to make sure that their spouses, when the spouse passes away, that the government don't keep the money because you don't have to fill out the paperwork. We're going to make sure those spouses actually get the spousal benefits that they're supposed to be receiving.
It should be automatic. There shouldn't be a fight after that.
I think that's the first time I've heard a politician bring that up.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Because I'm not a real politician.
Well, that's very true, sir. You're one of us.
I'm in the leadership business.
and you're not a reality TV star. So
I'm not a reality TV star.
Now here you go. You've got me going again, Shawn. But a lot of veterans don't know that until it's too late, that they have to jump through hoops so that their spouses get those benefits.
Yeah,
exactly.
Very true. Look, so if you had any doubt that Shawn Harris is the person that should be sitting in this seat, that doubt should be gone now.
Should be.
So I know your campaign said we only have 30 minutes, so thank you for letting us go over. Like I said, I hope to have another conversation with you, whether it be online or offline. But I definitely hope next time I talk to you that I'm able to call you Congressman when I greet you.
I tell you guys, let me just say thank you as a closeout. You know, if people just go to ShawnForGeorgia.com, they'll check us out there. Like Marcus has already said, I want to say thank you in advance. Whatever you can do for our campaign to answer is thank you, thank you, thank you. But I also want to ask your team for your prayers, because as this election goes forward and as more people find out that, guess what, Shawn Harris is going to win this thing, it's going to get nasty.
Yes, sir.
That's okay. I just ask for your prayers and get in behind our campaign so that on March 10th, CNN and Fox News agree that Shawn Harris and the Democrats have shocked the world, and we have taken a seat and flipped it. And the first seat that's going to flip and start a blue wave come 2026 going into the midterms.
Yes, sir. And they got to show up.
To make sure that Mike Johnson gets you sworn in the very next day.
Exactly.
Well, I'll march my butt up to Washington, D.C. if I got to.
We're not going to deal with any delays.
Next day. We'll be on the 7 o'clock fight. We know it leaves Atlanta.
You better know it. So February 16th is when early voting starts in Georgia, 14th Congressional District. So Shawn Harris is the guy. So don't worry about those other 17 Republicans. But remember what you heard here today, which is this is a man that understands what it means to represent not just the people that are loyal to him or that voted for him, but the people that live next to him. Whether they vote the same way, whether they pray to the same God, no matter what. And that's what we need. We need people, because at the end of the day, we're already seeing other people in the Democratic Party who are not just representing their district, they're representing America right now, trying to get this under control. So we need a brigadier general in there that knows what it's like to be enlisted and knows what it's like to stand literally at the gate and be the one guarding us. So, sir, thank you so much, but I'm going to leave you both with this. You said something to each other. You said, thank you to Marcus for holding the door open for you. And I want to thank you both for holding the door open for the people that are come behind you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Shawn, God bless you, brother.
Thank you.
Godspeed.
So, guys, we're going to continue on now that we had that amazing show. So, again, go to ShawnForGeorgia.com and just, I'm going to spell it out for people. So it's ShawnFor Georgia. So go check him out. You can read more about him, his bio. As you can hear, he's a very impressive individual, but more importantly, he has the experience to guide our country and guide Congress. And that's sincerely what we all need right now.
Man with integrity, courage, honor, all those core values that you're taught in the military.
Yep. Service before self.
So, yeah.
Yep. And I just
selfless
he
service.
brought up so many good things, man. Like, yeah, I was so impressed with him. Yeah, I wish I could vote for him. You know, hey, maybe one day I'll be able to.
Hey, you know,
and you never know. But with that said, we do have a lot we're going to try to get through here. So bear with us if it seems a little fast, because there's just a lot.
You know, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I get in a conversation with friends, people like that.
But that's the important thing,
me, you know, and it just goes.
No,
so I apologize for running over on
Shawn was the important stuff today. This is the entertainment part.
Yeah.
So not that it's very entertaining, but there's been another ICE involved shooting coming out of Compton, California. When we got on the show, thank you, our amazing producer.
What is it about us that when we come on the air, somebody's
telling you
getting shot? I mean,
so let me read a little bit of this. Bear with me because I'm just reading this for the first time. Yeah. Federal law enforcement officers were involved in a shooting in an unincorporated area of Los Angeles on Wednesday morning while conducting an immigration enforcement operation, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Yeah, because we can really depend on them. Yeah. A DHS spokesperson told the Hill's sister nation, News Nation, in a statement that officers were conducting a targeted operation. They really like that phrase. In Compton, California, around 7:05 a.m. to arrest a violent criminal illegal alien from El Salvador. The agency identified the individual as, I'm not going to say their name. They said he was involved in a human smuggling operation. He's been arrested twice prior on domestic abuse. See, here's the thing. If they can prove all this, I don't hear anybody that doesn't want to get criminals out. But
given the track record, color me a little skeptical.
There you go. The issue is we've seen time and time and time again where things are fabricated to create a desired outcome.
I mean,
and I think to say that isn't happening here is beyond naive.
Yeah.
Like, it's dangerous to think that these phrases that they keep using over and over, targeted operation. Well, if you go look to the deputy chief, he said that if they're coming or going from a targeted operation, that ICE can encounter anybody they want to check their citizenship. And I'm like, the way he just worded that means anytime they want.
It reminds me of stop and frisk. It comes to mind, due process be damned. We're just going to do whatever we want to.
And then when pressed on,
like
so you're targeting people? And he was like, well, no, we're not targeting people. And they were like, so what's making you stop them then? It's like color of their skin, maybe their accent, maybe them not speaking English, because those are the things that they're using. And again, any police force walking around asking us to prove our citizenship is batshit crazy.
Now, you're an American citizen. You ain't got to prove anything. Not to ICE.
Like, can we agree on that, please? So I wanted to, while we're talking about this, and again, I'm not exactly sure what the update is on the individuals, but like I said, if they can prove all this stuff, whatever, send them out of the country. The problem is they keep arresting Americans.
Yeah.
They keep arresting veterans.
Beating up Americans.
Dragging the wrong people out of the houses that have no criminal records. Those are the people we're talking about. Yeah.
Killing American citizens. This is what we've dealt with. So given the track record, how can we not be skeptical of anything that comes out of this agency right now at the very top?
I'm telling you, bro.
When Kristi Noem characterized Renee Good as a domestic terrorist literally minutes after she was killed.
And what were her last words?
Going to investigate it.
Last words were, "I'm not mad at you.
Why not investigate it?"
Yeah. Like, again, I don't know how anybody watched that video and came to the conclusion that that was a justified shooting. Like,
the conclusion they've come to now that there needs
and it doesn't need to be investigated.
Not going to do it. You know,
it's crazy
when it's already been debunked that he was hit by her car.
Yeah, internal bleeding. Yeah, my ass. So again, we'll see what comes out.
I'm sorry, but it just.
But they sure are trigger happy, aren't they? Because we have a part of the video. We don't have to necessarily show it, but the BMW, like, there's like at least, I think, 3 or 4 gunshots. And granted, I don't know if they came from the inside or outside, so whatever. But yeah, false alarm. Okay. But with that, I wanted to remind everybody of something. You ready?
Yep.
Law enforcement has no constitutional duty to protect an individual person. Did y'all know that? Let me give you some examples. Let me just read this.
You don't have to go back that far to know.
No, you really don't. The U.S. Supreme Court has repeatedly held that under the U.S. Constitution, law enforcement and government agencies do not have a constitutional duty to protect individual citizens from harm. Let me give you some examples. Castle Rock v. Gonzalez, 2005, the Supreme Court ruled that the police do not have a constitutional duty to enforce a restraining order, even when a failure to do so led to the deaths of a woman's children. The court held there was no protected property or liberty interested in enforcement that was enforceable under the Due Process Clause. So when you all tell me, oh, just go get the protective orders on the people that dox and stalk me, it doesn't do any good. We've done it. So then we move on to DeShaney versus Winnebago County. Although this case involved Child Protective Services rather than police, the court held that the Constitution does not impose an affirmative duty on state actors to protect individuals from private harm unless the government created the danger or had a special custodial relationship.
Yeah.
So pro-life, right? And then we have the public duty doctrine. Lower courts and legal commenters interpret these and related decisions to mean police generally owe a duty to the public as a whole, not to specific individuals. So there is no constitutional right to require police to protect you personally, absent of a special relationship, i.e., they've taken you into custody. The court has said there is no enforceable constitutional duty to protect American citizens from harm. So when they come up to you and start questioning you, tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah. It kind of sits at odds with, justified killing to protect others. But again, when the police say protect and serve, it's to protect and serve the community as a whole, not you as an individual. It's not their job, according to the Supreme Court.
I would argue they're not doing very good protecting the community when they're shooting widowed mothers.
Oh, that's ICE. That's ICE. Who, they have no legal authority to be doing anything with U.S. citizens.
Exactly. Yeah. Or policing in any way, shape, or form. So saying, oh, well, they ran a stop sign.
They can't be pulling people out of their cars.
Nope.
They're American citizens. There's a caveat.
Yep. And I'll give you a quick example of that. We have border control.
Have warrants to go after people who they're going after.
Absolutely. The fact that they don't have warrants mean that when they say, oh, we have information, show us the warrant. That's what a warrant means, is that somebody that actually can read and has an education looked at something, hopefully, and read it and said, yeah, there's enough evidence here for you to go get these people. Okay, great. If you showed me a warrant.
Or having a warrant doesn't mean you can shoot someone through their door.
That too. But you know what I'm saying? Like if they had a warrant, it would be a hell of a lot easier for me to accept. Because you went through a process. Granted, we could talk about is the judge dirty or not, whatever, that's a whole different conversation. But at least the judge looked at it. You went through a process. So at least there's some kind of check and balance that we can go back and refer to. That's not what's happening here. Like, this is legit a police force that is going out at the direction of the president of the United States and being given a free pass to do whatever the hell they want. And oh, by the way, they're not investigating the man that shot Renee Good. And he's already come out and told you that he's told them they can do whatever they want. And he's giving pardons to anybody that shows up for January 6th, tries to do an insurrection, fraud, drug dealers. He's handing out pardons like they're freaking Skittles.
Yeah.
But
the language has changed around it. It's they're changing the language so that they can deem what's legal.
Yes, for sure.
That's what's happening here.
Speaking of language matters. And I think most of us went through Martin Luther King Jr. Day yesterday. Most of us didn't want to think about Trump because I prefer to think about Martin Luther King, and I tend to go to his daughter's page and share her stuff because it's kind of coming from the source. But as the day went on, it became very evident that Trump had not posted anything directly about Martin Luther King. There was a proclamation that always gets posted, but that was like an auto pen thing. It didn't even have a signature on it. So when we saw that Mr. I like to legislate for my Truth Social and tweet out, 2-page, things at 3:00 in the morning had nothing to say about Martin Luther King.
It's very telling.
It's very telling. He did come out later and say something, but at that point, it was more because everybody was losing their shit and being like, oh, look, the president doesn't care.
That's it. It's a part of their I hate to use the word.
It's like, I don't even know what to say.
Anti-DEI. I'm sure it's going to be an interesting Black History Month that's coming up here where, they again take Black memory for granted. One of the things I tell people that you dismiss Black memory and Black history at your own peril. Because if you think about what we've gone through as a race, Black memory is a pain signal. If you relate it to pain and think about it in that way, pain's not an opinion, pain's a story. It's a story that tells you when something is wrong.
Yeah.
A story that tells you when something's wrong so that it doesn't become fatal. So if we don't remember the pains that we've suffered at these times, that's been generational pain, it could end up being.
But again, it's the education part. I'll be honest with you. They may have taught it. I probably missed that day. But Tulsa Massacre, I was not well educated on it until years ago. And honestly, one of the things that got me talking about was Tom Hanks going, "What the hell was the Tulsa Massacre, and why didn't I know about it?"
Absolutely.
I was like, oh shit, like I've heard about it, but let me go read up more about it. And again, when you read that, it's hard not to make the parallels.
It's because
it's hard not to compare what we're seeing now.
Deliberately hidden, but it's in plain sight.
But in plain sight to those of us who have seen the painting before, right? And that's the part that is really frustrating. But speaking of people like Martin Luther King and Nobel Peace Prize winners, and DEI, I think I have the perfect example of DEI for everybody. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is Donald Trump getting the Nobel Peace Prize from, my God, I can't even. So I went after Miss Maria Machado here because the fact that she did this just it tarnishes her achievement first off.
Exactly. I was talking to one of our mutual friends about this, and I was saying I don't know if I'm more upset with him for taking it or with her for giving it to him.
Her for giving it for sure. I expect him to be the turd
that was building up. I think she threw all of that to the wind, and I was like, man, come on, are you serious? So I saw some. When I'm looking at our Facebook pages, people are like, what's next? Is Trump going to get a Heisman now? Is he going to get,
watch out when the Super Bowl comes up. He's going to want the ring, baby.
He's going to want a ring.
He's probably going to come up and kick everybody out of the way and grab the Lombardi trophy himself and start giving a speech about the radical left didn't want him to have this trophy. Oh, and look at my Purple Heart here too. Sorry.
Right. I mean, it's just.
This is a joke, and again, anybody that
it's apologizing beforehand, it's appeasement, it's disgusting if you ask me.
But is this what an alpha male is?
Sorry. But
is this what an alpha male is?
yeah,
Like
it feels beta to me.
He's an 80-year-old man who got his feelings hurt so freaking bad that the whole world had to get down and bend knee to him so that he doesn't nuke them.
Mike, thanks, Keith. Look at this, man. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
I remember a time when
there's a guy who doesn't even know that Norway doesn't give the Nobel.
Yeah, well, apparently he got Iceland and Greenland confused today too. So once again, if that were Joe Biden that was up there, would have been a totally different story, right?
For the 25th Amendment right now.
God, wouldn't that be nice? Speaking of Greenland,
it's kind of backing down a little bit, huh?
He did back down today. So I've talked about it on this show once or twice before, and I want to remind everybody, and again, please go look this up for yourself. I want to remind everybody what a trial balloon is.
Yeah.
A trial balloon is when you float an idea that you want to do, but you want to see what the public consensus or the consensus in the room is. So you just kind of...
That language again comes back to it. Go ahead.
Right. So you just kind of toss it out there and you gauge if you could get at least 50, 60%, on your side. That's how Donald Trump does everything. That's how the man does business. He throws something out there and sees if he's going to be able to get away with it. And if it looks like he's going to be able to do it, he does it. And if it looks like
no matter how ridiculous.
Yep. And if it looks like he's not going to be able to, he starts retracting. And a lot of the times he'll point the finger and say it's because of somebody else.
Let me put a finer point on that, Ryan.
Please.
And say why that's dangerous. Because now in official spaces, like on government websites, it's not just the language that they're floating out there. They're floating out symbols.
Propaganda.
They're floating out that propaganda on official sites.
100%.
See how people are going to respond to it. And obviously there's not a big, I want to say symbols and things, I mean white supremacist symbols on official government sites that they're floating out there.
But we need to be
focused. There hasn't been enough uproar about it. It's
the
same way things started in the 1920s in Germany. First the language changed, you got away with it. Then you started seeing symbols and red flags everywhere.
Then knocking on people's doors.
It became normalized. And then.
Yep. And by the way,
it's a downward spiral.
If you think this isn't affecting us, Americans, it is. And it's probably going to start affecting us a lot more because the EU has come out and said that they're putting trade talks with the United States on hold indefinitely. And they're considering using a retaliatory economic bazooka.
They're pushing back aggressively.
So
what do we expect?
On top of NATO basically threatening us, we're having a lot of firsts this month, aren't we?
Yeah.
2026 is off to a hell of a start.
And it's hard to use the word unprecedented at this point.
I think 2026, we need to retire that freaking word, man.
Retire it and say,
somebody give us a better word, like break out the thesaurus. What's a better word for unprecedented? We gotta, I can't say unprecedented again.
It's absolutely nuts is what.
But speaking of unprecedented, Minnesota. Minnesota is the trial balloon. He is seeing what he's going to be able to get away with in other Democrat-run cities. And we've said it before, and I'll say it every freaking show. The reason he wants the military and law enforcement to be willing to abide by unlawful orders is because he plans on giving unlawful orders against American citizens. He's already doing it, but it's just in little, spats to see if he can get away with it. So we cannot allow him to get away with what's happening in Minnesota. And thankfully, there are some courts that are stepping in and saying, no, you guys cannot gas American citizens. You cannot just go willy-nilly arrest whoever you want. No. And peaceful protesters, keep your hands off them.
And I'm glad that judge came out and said that and did that.
Me
put
too.
That order in place. Because everybody, the whole crowd that was, they can stop people and pull them over. They've got the right to do that. You and I said from the very beginning when the Renee Good thing happened, they don't have the authority to do the things that they're doing. They're not like cops in the sense that they can pull you over and ask you to get out of your car.
And even then, they got to have a justified cause, yeah.
And then, not American citizens. So,
again, if they were justified in what they were doing, I would wager to say that they would have body cams instead of holding their personal cell phones while they go around recording women in their license plates.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. So, again, I just want to drive home the fact that nobody in, not even Minneapolis, wants him there. Nobody in Minnesota wants ICE in their state. They don't want them in their cities. They don't want them in their homes, their businesses. They don't want them there. Elected officials have literally told them to get the fuck out. And what is the response? We're going to send more. So again, this isn't about Democrat and Republican anymore, guys. It really isn't. It's about America versus Trump and his regime. And if you are accepting what's happening right now, if you approve of what ICE is doing, I've got a big news flash for you. You would have been supporting Nazis during World War II. You wouldn't have been with the anti-fascists that were storming the beaches in Normandy. You would have been cheering on Hitler standing at his Vestal doing what he's doing.
So people stay silent because they aren't the target yet. And I do
even I've done it
there because history is very unforgiving about the word yet.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. That's true.
Authoritarians thrive when people stay silent, when people get tired, when people get tired of explaining, when people get tired of protesting, when people get tired of paying attention, when people are saying, I just want peace. You hear that a lot in certain social media aspects. Can't we all just get along now? They're using the Rodney King thing. It's coming from right. Can't we all just get along? Can't you all just let it go? We want peace. Nope. But what history does teach us is that peace through silence, it never lasts.
The only way through peace is accountability.
That's it.
Period. Oh, and by the way, peace should not require $1 billion buy-in either.
No.
Just want to leave that there. So to close out the show, we were talking about Minneapolis and Minnesota, and Kyle Rittenhouse, we've talked about him because the FBI came to my house, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But he put up a social media post. He blocked me on Twitter, but not on Threads. So he put this out. For those of you who are listening to the podcast and not watching, it is Kyle Rittenhouse standing with a very large
minigun.
It's a minigun that usually hangs off the side of a helicopter. And he says, thinking of taking this to Minneapolis. Thoughts? Now, this is the same kid who told me that he regrets what he did that night and wished he had never gone. Mm-hmm. I would argue that if that was true, Kyle, you wouldn't be planning your next trip. So, with
Lesson
that,
not learned because he wasn't held accountable.
Exactly. Accountability matters. If this kid had been held accountable, not only would he still be in prison, but I'm pretty sure he would know that what he did was wrong. But now,
even joking about this shit is just disgusting.
It's fucked up.
I mean, he should be.
So again, the FBI is not going to go to his house.
No, they're not.
But they're going to come to my house because I said I was going to go see him at a public event.
I mean, that could be viewed as a threat.
I think so. But again, he won't be held accountable.
He won't be.
So he'll keep posting it. But meanwhile, a lot of liberal online creators and even just Democrats posting to elected officials, not breaking the law, not threatening them, just posting and saying your pieces of garbage. And apparently that's enough to have the FBI and or Secret Service show up to our homes now. So you already know that the FBI came to my house December 18th. So we've talked it to death on the show already. But what's bothering me is it's not just me, which I said back then. And the other thing bothering me is that it's happening to a lot of women. Yeah. It's happening to men too, but I'm seeing it happening. It's, maybe I'm imagining it, but it seems to me that I'm seeing more women post these videos like, hey,
Definitely
the FBI just showed up.
Seeing more women in the news with these things, getting harassed by.
It seems like it to me.
It feels
so
like it to me.
that bothers me.
Don't know how accurate the statement is, but it feels like
that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to preface it with, it could just be my interpretation, but either way, there are women that are having the Secret Service and the FBI show up, open their door and start saying, is this you? Is this you? First off, get out of my house. It's like when they called me. I used my First Amendment right. I didn't threaten them. What else you got? So the fact that I want you all to think about this, besides how messed up this all is, they are using taxpayer money to pay these people to go door to door and intimidate liberals and Democrats.
And they're only doing it in blue states because it's blue states as well. So
we're paying for them to come harass us. And knowing that the Supreme Court now, as I just explained to you, has zero responsibility to actually protect us, then get the hell off my property. And by the way, if you've followed me for the last 4 or 5 years, then you know that my experience pretty much verifies everything I just read. I went to the courts. I called the Pima County Sheriff. I stopped calling them because I didn't want them to not respond if something actually happened. So if you keep calling them every 3 days because somebody doxed you, eventually you turn into it's Ryan again. I'm not doing that, because if I ever do need them, I want them to actually show up. So, I just caution people to think that the system is going to help us in any way, because it's not. Law enforcement's not going to help us. The court's not going to help us. Even when me and my kids got protective orders, they kept telling us, well, there's nothing we can do. And then, God forbid, they be out of state and they're doing everything online. Then there's just all these weird loopholes that nobody wants to do. And then on top of it, do you know how much a lawyer costs? It's a lot of money. And that's if you find a lawyer that actually wants to do whatever it is you need them to do. So all these women, it's one of the reasons I've had an issue with this from the get-go, because you have mass men getting out of vehicles, pulling their guns, walking up to vehicles saying, get out, get the fuck out. And I don't know how you all were raised, but in the 80s and 90s, I was always told, if somebody comes running up to your door, pulling on the door handle saying, get the fuck out, that's a carjacking. That isn't ICE coming to ask you some questions. And I was told that, let me rephrase, the women in my family were taught that you don't let men do the shit that they're doing out there. Like, it's intimidating. It's threatening. They're grabbing these women and they're throwing them in the back of cars. Any other time, we'd call that kidnapping.
That's what it's meant to be. It's meant to send a chilling effect.
And it is sending a chilling effect.
To make people afraid so that they don't come out,
don't vote,
and fight, and push back.
Yep.
So I mean, and it makes it all the more, in my opinion, it shows why Minneapolis is what civic courage is supposed to look like right now.
Yes.
So
yes.
It's not about apathy. It's about engagement. And that's what resistance is all about.
It is
doing that. So I mean,
it's about the game.
Exactly. It's a democracy at the end of the day, and democracy isn't.
We got to show up.
Self-executing. We'll put it like that. You got to do something for it. You got to get out there and continue to fight, because we've gotten a little complacent over the last.
I think that's fair.
50, 60 years. We've gotten complacent.
I'd say,
and we think this thing's just going to run itself. The institutions are going to hold. Institutions don't defend themselves, guys. People do.
And I would also argue that everything that's in the system that was supposed to protect us has already failed.
Yeah.
Again, we've talked about the loyalists being installed in the positions that he needed them in to make those fail-safes fail.
Yeah.
Like when you talk about the Affordable Care Act failing, because they made it. Like they helped it along. Would it have failed on its own? Instead of fixing problems, they just create more, and then they clutch their pearls and say, oh, look what the Democrats did. Look what Joe Biden did. What's happening right now is not because of Democrats. It's not because of Joe Biden. It's not because of liberals. It's not because of independents. It's not because of women. It's not because of transgender people. It's not because of gay people. It's not because of black folks. It's not because of Latino folks. Not because of any of those people. It's because of Donald Trump, the MAGA movement, the Heritage Foundation, and all the immigrant billionaires that actually don't give a shit about our country, our land, or its people being able to purchase all these elections. So we need to get out there and work for the people like Shawn Harris, okay, and Chris Fowler, who's running to Oklahoma, and all the other people that we're about to bring on, because that's how we actually fix this. So pull the $5 or $10 out of your pocket, find those politicians that you actually want to see in the seats, and remember that just because somebody like Shawn Harris is in Georgia doesn't mean that they're not going to end up representing you in some way, because Shawn is going to end up voting on your health care one day. So if you like him, go give him $5. You don't have to be in his district just to help fund getting these people in the seats that we need them in to get the majorities to fix this. Because honestly, guys, and I'm speaking for myself, not Marcus, I think I'm a fairly intelligent person, and I'm not seeing a way we're going to be able to vote ourselves out of this. And that is probably the most terrifying thing I go to bed thinking about every night right now, is I don't see a legislative vote that we can get our way out of this. And I hope I'm wrong. I pray to God I'm wrong. But if not, we need to be ready.
I've been writing some speeches about that exact same thing, but I'll end with this. This is the moment to stay involved, though. Organize, show up, local and state races.
Yes.
Not just the big ones. Not just Congress, or the House, not just the Senate, but
city councils,
everything.
Board of Supervisors. It all starts down there.
This democracy can still be saved, but only if we decide to save it.
And now's the time. Like, there's no more time for debate. This is the time for us to stand up. Which again is why I would like a brigadier general to be in Congress, because I think we could use a few more of those. But to everybody out there, seriously, be safe. Keep your head on a swivel. I have a feeling things are probably going to get a little worse before they get better. But like Marcus said, I do agree with that. The only way we are going to win and we are going to be able to vote our way out of this is if we show up and do the work. And that we support the people that we want in there. And with that said, I want to leave on this little small bit of hope. Here in Tucson and pretty much everywhere across the country, I saw students, I saw business owners, I saw parents, I saw transgender people all walk out of school, their jobs, and whatever to show this administration that there are a hell of a lot more of us than you think.
Right.
So when they turned on those TVs yesterday and they went city by city and state by state and they saw all of you walking out, and that let them know that they're on notice. So let's finish the job.
Let's do it. Stay involved.
You got anything?
That's it. That's the message.
Yep. So make sure you go support the candidates we're bringing on. Chris Fowler in Oklahoma was last week. We got Shawn Harris, Georgia 14th, and I believe we have somebody else, right, sir?
We got somebody else coming up next week. We've got Quentin Pullen, I think, is coming up next week.
Yes. So again,
this local state race here in Georgia. So
yep. But this is what we did this show for. We told you in the beginning of the year we were going to start off strong. Here we are. This is us doing our part. He's doing the hold the line pack. So again, if you want to go support him, he's looking for the good candidates and doing the work behind closed doors. Like I said during the show, he's not out of the game. He just isn't running for an actual seat. But there's a lot of people behind these closed doors doing the work that we need them to do. So to all of you, thank you. To everybody who protested yesterday, thank you for using your First Amendment right. It matters. As always, much love, keep fighting, but most importantly, stay safe out there.
Godspeed, everybody.